Hi, I'm Randy. Hi, Twitch. My name is Randy. I run a website called eldergeek.com, as most of you know here. And I've been doing it since about 2009, and I'm horrible at public speaking, so right now that is about what I feel like. The last time I gave any type of public speaking, I might have told some people this story. I was in college, and I had to do a public speaking thing for Shakespeare, and I knew my foot was going to go crazy while speaking. And so what I thought was the smart thing to do was to wear the heaviest boots that I owned, because that would make my foot too tired to shake. And so while I was up talking about Othello, my foot would just... And the whole room just... Anyway. Yeah. Anyway. I run a little website called eldergeek.com, but right now mostly my presence is on YouTube. And I'm not a Let's Player. I am not I'm not a funny person on YouTube. I basically just do video reviews. Once in a while I'll do video features, like this one, which I did about Batman. Not all Batman are created equal. This was a video about how the Batman in the Arkham series was basically kind of a jerk. A lot of people saw my Witcher retrospective, and I don't know why I have this slide here. That's just a lot of pictures of my YouTube thumbnails, apparently. 25 Games for My Son is basically a series that I started because I think our generation, my generation, was probably the first generation of people who not only do we tie our memories to music, like whatever song you happen to be listening to at a specific time, what movie you went to go see with so-and-so, but we're also probably the first generation to tie specific memories of our lives to the video games that we were playing. And I grew up playing video games, and some of the most the warmest memories in my past are playing video games. And I thought to myself, being a video game critic is great, but it's also it's a very selfish kind of position. It's whatever critics do, we're just, no matter how nice you are for a game, it's still always very negative. And I feel like it is kind of selfish, and I kind of wanted to give back into the video game community. The community that gave me so much, I wanted to feed back into it. So instead of being the critic all the time, I kind of figured, all right, I will put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to create something original too and kind of give back. And I had been kicking around the idea of doing a Games for My Son series because I had somebody had given me a book once about like 50 albums to listen to before you die. And I was like, you know what, I want to do like a 25 games you gotta play before you die, or a 25 games you should at least know about before you die. And so, I wanted to take it one step further and make it more personal and make them 25 games that were about things that happened in my life. And what really kind of triggered it was coming here to MAGFest. At MAGFest, everybody is giving. Like, this entire show is just about people giving. Between the room parties, you go down to the arcade room, the people that actually prepare those arcade machines, they're just giving back into the community. Nobody knows the guy who fixed up the arcade machine. After this show is done, nobody's going to remember exactly the names of the people that sat there and played music for everybody, but they're giving into the community, and I wanted to do that too. So I started writing and drawing these stick figure people about the personal events in my life that I remember because of specific video games. This one in particular is one I chopped off my fingertip right about when I was playing Ocarina of Time. And whenever I think about that game, I think my finger probably like pulses a little bit, just kind of thinking about it. But most recent one that I did was about Chrono Trigger. And let me check my notes here real quick, see where the hell I am in my rambling. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Very, very professional at this. Very professional. Oh, good idea. Good idea. Yeah, I kind of figured I would do this because I can't code. I can't make a game to give back in the community. I can't play any instruments, so I can't perform for anybody. But I can draw, okay, and I can video edit as well. And so this is basically what it came up to. Right now, these are the episodes that I've done. I'm working on episode 5 right now, The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. And hopefully that'll be done sometime within the next year. But it's kind of funny. Memory is really fickle, and I want to get these out as quickly as I can. And because every time I put out a new episode, I'm building more and more memories as I'm doing them. And as I'm actually doing these episodes, not only does it make me remember the things that I went through when I was playing the games originally, but I'm also building new memories. Like when I did the Chrono Trigger episode, it was gigantic. I was working with musicians, I was working with artists, and then at the same time, my son was growing up, and so Chrono Trigger used to mean something to me when I was 14 or something when the game first came out, but now that I'm 36, it means something completely different, and it's because I'm doing this series. And I kind of feel like it's important to get all of this down and kind of, just kind of get it out. Like I said, I can draw okay. This is where I was supposed to talk about how I can draw okay, not animate. But anyway, every episode I've been doing them. I started off, and they were pretty quick, and every episode that I've done, I've made them bigger and bigger. And I got to the point where now I've reached something that I call the Nintendo problem. And what the Nintendo problem is well, everybody here was born in the 80s, 90s. Yeah, all right. Playing Nintendo is synonymous with just playing video games. And so therefore, like, a good chunk of the games on this list might end up being Nintendo video games. But as you can see, when I did a Nintendo game and I used Nintendo music, they flagged one of my videos. And you know what? It's fair. They're supposed to be able to do that. It's their property. I wasn't being critical of it, so I couldn't just say, hey, fair use, and then kind of move on with my life. So I thought, all right, what can I do to solve this problem? I can't just stop doing the videos. I've got 23 more to go. So here at MAGFest, I met up with a lot of musicians. Made friends with a lot of musicians, and so people who wanted to help out with the project. So I met people like this is Kristen Negus and Patty Rudisil, who wanted to contribute to it. So what we did was we took the next Nintendo game that I needed to work on, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and they redid the soundtracks for me, and we licensed the music through Louder. And so now whenever people listen to what I actually have on YouTube, they can buy it and listen to it. Music, a portion of it goes to Nintendo, so Nintendo gets their share. They actually get a better share than YouTube's 5 cents or whatever. But then also the musicians get a cut of it as well. But then I also brought in some friends, like my friend Phil Summers, who worked on the cover art as well for the albums. So as I've been going along, I've been making this bigger and bigger accidentally, or by necessity almost. But I need to kind of think smaller. But right now, there's 2 albums that you can actually find on Louder: Ocarina of Time, music for 25 games, and Chrono Trigger, music for 25 games. I think both of them you can hear on, the Chrono Trigger one you can get on Spotify, but both of them I think you can get on Pandora. But anyway, basically gonna be doing that. I think I'm 99% sure they're both on iTunes at the moment too. The Ocarina of Time album was kind of fun. We kept it simple, just 5 tracks, just what I needed for the video. But when I started doing Chrono Trigger, the word got out that I was making this video, and it kind of grew on its own. And I actually had to tell musicians no, and it was all out of my hands. It was just, hey, I'm working on this album, and I want people to kind of help out. I had a couple of people that I really wanted to help out, but friends of their friends were like, hey, I want to do a track. Hey, I want to do a track. And I was like, okay, I got to stop now because I really need to get this thing done. So we went from 5 tracks to, it was originally going to be 13, but we cut back to 11. But everybody on that was just amazing. Here are, let me see how many different people. There's out of those 11 tracks, I think there's 2 duplicate artists. That means there's 9 individual groups of people who all wanted to do this, who some of them never met me before, all thought that this was a cool idea, and then just decided to throw music into the project as well. So it was an awe-inspiring kind of moment. Kind of thought I would talk about my process a little bit, thus the words "my process" on the screen. First things first, I played through the game. Whatever the next game is, I play through it and I try to record absolutely everything that I possibly can, because when I go back through and write whatever I'm writing, I never know what I'm going to need to re-pick up. And with some old Nintendo games, it's hard to go back and refilm middle sections. So when I'm done, I will literally have on my hard drive anywhere between 6 to 20 hours of just raw footage of any random video game, which kind of takes up a lot of space on the hard drive. Then I obviously sit down and write the script of what an episode of 25 games is going to be about. Can you guys read that? Is that readable? Oh, that was a slide from one of them. And that was sort of a mini example as to some of the letters that we'll get, or I'll get as doing critiques. Fish of War 3. I'll drink my beer and you guys can let me know when I can see it. Let me know when it's ready. Clear, good, good. All right, moving on. Also, when I start to draw this stuff, it's kind of funny that I try to find the exact same thing that existed in my life to draw. Like that telephone, that was a real telephone that my mom and dad had in the kitchen. And it's so fun to do like the Google searches for these things. Get out of here. Those things were indestructible. You could probably hurt somebody with that thing. And what I also have to do is like when I'm writing this stuff out, I'm like, all right, am I remembering all of this correctly? And so I'll call like my brothers and sisters. I asked my little sister, I was like, what were you listening to? She was listening to TLC, Hootie the Blowfish, and Edie Kamosi. Here Comes the Hot Stepper. I was like, really? But that was her boombox, and so like it was fun to just find that exact boombox somewhere online, because then I can draw it, and then I send it to her, and she's all excited because then she remembers something about when she was like 12 or something. She didn't have that boombox anymore, but it's fun to kind of do that stuff. And that is actually the exact. I had that TV in like 1983. It was really. I jumped off of my couch and I bashed my forehead on the corner of that, and I still have the scar. Those things were huge. It was probably like a 20-inch television, and now like yeah. Oh, the first remote we had for it was with a VHS, like a VCR. We were all excited because we're like, got a VCR. Now we can change channels while sitting down. You know what was the best? You know what was the best was when you had these kind of TVs and you'd get in arguments with your brothers and sisters as to who had to turn the channel, and it was whoever was sitting closest. And you would just literally run to the other side of the house just so you wouldn't have to turn the channel, and it would take any less effort to just get up and change the damn channel. And you also get to look up some fun old stuff too, like the old Nintendo Powers. It's really kind of fun flipping through some of that old stuff. And I'm does he really? Yes. Yes. It's really kind of funny. I try to, as much as I can, I listen to the music from that year. Like one time I literally, did I do an X-Files picture yet? I don't think I did. But the one I did, I think for Chrono Trigger, I was just watching a lot of X-Files. So I literally binge watched X-Files while I was drawing it. And there was so much, it's just kind of fun to get the feeling back. And then obviously once I'm done with the script and I feel kind of happy with the script and I kind of storyboard it out, then I start drawing it. And it takes a while. Just a little stupid picture like this to look like stick figures on a battlefield. That took a long time just to look like stick figures, just to try to make it look like a kid drew it. That was fun. I watched Jurassic Park and I freeze framed it at the right moment. I was like, I gotta find when that dinosaur looked the coolest and try to draw it in that moment. Anyway. And that's true. It's true. When we first got like that, it was oh my god. And it was even better like when your parents actually bought you an individual phone line, so your connection didn't hang up when somebody else picked up the phone. I guess that's it. Where do I go from here? That's literally my last slide. I feel like I didn't produce enough. 15 minutes left. Where do I go from here? Honestly, right now I'm working on the Elder Scrolls Oblivion one, and my plan is to dial it back a little bit. Right now, the process of things to make each individual episode this is taking a little bit too long. I've done 4, 5 of them, and if I'm doing one a year, I'm not going to be done until I'm like, I don't know, 60 or something insane. And yeah, right. And he'll be like in college, and all of his friends are gonna be like, "You are so lame." Yeah, right. Exactly. So mean, I can tell you the story for Oblivion. I mean, it's not like you guys are gonna run around and tell a trade secret for it. But Oblivion, I was living in Bethesda at the time, and we had this really shit apartment. And I shouldn't be swearing because it's Twitch. We had this really shitty apartment. As I and so when I was playing Oblivion like a lot, like that was all I was playing, and in the game I was like stealing stuff all the time. And one day I walked outside and my car was gone, and I was like, what kind of monster just takes things? And like I think that what made it absolutely worse was, and it was a bad car. You remember that car? It was do you remember that car? It was like a 2000 Toyota or Honda. What the heck was that? A Dodge Cirrus. It was just basically like a generic Dodge 4-door car. Yes. And so, and it literally died when it caught fire one day. But if you ever have your car stolen, the police give it like, I think the insurance company gives you like 25 days. Like on the 25th day, your car is just written off and you get the value of your car back on your insurance. And the police found it on the 24th day. And I was like, I didn't want that car. And so what was terrible was I was like, I got the car back. All right, I'll put the club on it. Like a month later, the car was stolen again. And the same thing happened again. It was returned on the 24th day. Dude, they probably saw my car again and they were like, that one was easy. Let's get that. Because they literally stole my car with a screwdriver, with a Phillips or a flathead screwdriver. But yeah, so from here, I'm kind of hoping to simplify it a little bit. I've been doing a lot of reading of kids' books, obviously. And so I've been kind of seeing their style and their way of storytelling, and I want to learn from that, simplify it, make it a little bit punchier. But at the same time, once I built it up so high, it's hard to dial back. It's kind of hard to go to making soundtracks and not do soundtracks. Now I feel like I kind of have to. Now people are asking me to be on the next soundtrack. And so, yeah. So now it's to try to dial it back, but also keep it as high as possible. I could already find like pre-licensed tracks and stuff, but it would be tougher that way to then rebundle it in a different name. I don't know, it's also a nice experience for these people to make the new tracks for them too. A lot of people hear about the game and they're like, yeah, I want to play that game. A lot of people, like one of the comments that always pops up is, are you forcing your kid to play these games? And the answer is no, I'm not forcing him to play it. Yeah, I'm not even forcing me to watch them, because like if you think about it, like if your parents told you, great, sit down, because here's 25 of my favorite movies from when I was a kid, and we're gonna watch them all, and here's why, kid would just be like, oh no. But if you condensed it, maybe drew some pictures, maybe they'll watch it. Who knows? But yeah, so that's where I am right now in the process. How did I do on time? Did I hit a half hour? 20 minutes! I gotta beef this up for Big Mag Fest. But yeah, yeah, that's what she was asking too. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII is definitely gonna be on there. That was my freshman year of college when one of my better friends in college literally did fail out of college from playing Final Fantasy VII. He failed out, like just gone. And he felt no remorse for it either. He was like, this is a great game. Another one is definitely going to be Street Fighter 2. And like that first moment when you learn how to throw a fireball. Because like, on the directions, like when you opened up like the Super Nintendo instructions, or even like in the arcade cabinets, it says down, right, plus those two buttons. When you do that, like, individually it doesn't work. And, when you finally figure it out, it's such a eureka moment. It is literally a life-changing moment of when you figure that out. But I figured that out one morning when I grew up on a corn farm. And every morning I would wait for my grandfather to come up to our house and pick me up to go pick corn at like 5:30 in the morning. And one morning I was just playing Street Fighter like at 4:30 in the morning. It was crazy ass dark outside. And I didn't even have the sound on because I was just listening for the tractor to come. And even with the volume off, I just got lost in it, learning how to throw fireballs. And he fired me after that. Because he was like, I came, you didn't come out, I went back home, and you're fired. And that was a big deal because that was like $4 for the day or something, you know? And that went right into the video game budget. You know, it's really kind of weird. When I wrote Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, and I thought to myself, should I do Oblivion or Morrowind? And I really kind of wanted to do Morrowind, but Morrowind's kind of sad, the story. And Oblivion I thought was funny, because getting your car stolen is kind of funny, especially when you don't learn your lesson and you have your same car stolen twice. Morrowind was the game that I was playing on September 11th. And I can't fucking play that game anymore because it always makes me think of that. And anybody, like, you guys are probably all old enough to remember that's like scary trying to think back on that. And gym class in high school, it is important. Yeah, it is absolutely important. But yeah, it is September 12th too. But at the time I was working I was what do you call it? A predatory lender is I guess what they're called now. I was a predatory lender for a mortgage company in Alexandria, and I had just moved to the DC area like just before September 11th happened. And so like all of my family was like, we're not coming to visit you, we're afraid of terrorists. And so yeah, was anybody here living in the area for that? You were here? Oh wow, no kidding. Wow. You were in the New York area? Oh, that stinks. You know what was the weirdest thing about September 11th when they finally opened up the metros here? Everybody talked to each other on the train. That like you don't do that. Like if you talk to somebody else on the Yeah, oh, I'm definitely going to be doing the difficult memories too. Yeah. Morrowind I kind of want to do for like, I guess when I'm in the mood for it. Yeah. But Final Fantasy VII, Street Fighter 2 is definitely going to make it on there. Super Metroid will probably make it on there. Splinter Cell Conviction is oddly going to make it on there. Yeah, it wasn't my favorite. It was good. It was not my favorite Splinter Cell game, but like I was saying about creating new memories while you're doing this stuff, I was playing this game when he was born, and what the hell was I telling us about? Kids are hard when they're first born, and it's not that you like suddenly stop losing sleep because like they're crying all the time. It's because they gotta eat all the time. They literally have to eat like every 45 minutes when they're first born. And so my wife and I split shifts. I took the night shift. I like watched him from 6 until 6 so she could get some sleep, and then she watched him from 6 to 6 the next day. So at nighttime, when I was waiting for him to wake up to need to eat, I was playing Conviction, like all the time, like religiously. So like while I was waiting for him to wake up, I was like choking guys out and shooting people in the head. But it was that's what I was playing because I think it was the only thing I had for a 360 at the time, and I was in the living room, and it was the only thing that I could play with no sound on, and I was getting better and better at it because I was remembering where enemies were coming from, and it was more like memorizing the game than less like playing the game. But whenever I think about that game, I think about when he was that little and like, needing to, make sure he didn't die. That is like as a newborn parent, your primary goal is to make sure your child doesn't die. And it's hard to do. Because they give you this kid, they're like, here's this kid. By the way, it's really fragile, and here's all these rules that you should probably know about. That guy back there is nodding his head. How many kids do you have? 2 kids? How old are they? They're both 8?
They are. And you can't think enough to go through those first 6 months again.
Yeah, dude, it's hard. That is literally the hardest part. He's 3 right now, and so I'm like, oh yeah, right, okay. You'll bounce right off that floor. You're okay.
Your head is hard enough.
Right, yeah. As long as you didn't hit your head too hard and it didn't make that horrible sound, then we're okay. Then we're good. Right. But Yeah. So yeah, it's that I will always remember him being a newborn, like by playing that game. I'm trying to think of any other games that are probably going to be on that list for sure. You know what's funny is I've written out the 25 games several times, and I've scratched games off to fit new stuff in and to make sure that other ones get in. But you know, it's so funny because I do these so slowly. You know, that's the way it rolls out. And there was another game that I was playing, NHL, I think it was 14. I need to make sure. See, this is another thing. Like, I remember these games and I remember these events, and then I actually have to like look on Wikipedia. I'm like, am I remembering this correctly? Do these dates line up? You know. But NHL 14, my cousin and I were playing a lot with each other, and he broke his butt bone because we were swinging on these vines, and the vine just literally broke, and he fell like 12 feet and just like landed right on a rock. And I was like, are you okay? Are you okay? And he didn't want to look at me in the eye. He didn't want to like me to see that he was crying. He was like, fine. And he just like kind of didn't want to look at me. I was like, you all right? You sure? Yes, it is called your coccyx, but he broke it for sure. Yeah, he landed right on his butt bone. NHL 14, baby. But what about you guys? Like I said, we are probably the first generation to ever tie memories to games. Are there any like good or bad memories that you tie to any specific game? Like any one game that reminds you of something? I have games that remind me of like specific music albums, which isn't quite the same, but yeah. Yeah, man. Nice. Snowmageddon. Yeah. Right. Anybody else? What about you? Do you have any memories that you tie to games? Yeah. Really? BioShock is gonna make this list, by the way. Yeah. Wow. Nice. Yeah, my BioShock story is my wife and I had just moved in together, and BioShock always makes me think of this. She would play a lot of my games to de-stress when she was doing grad school stuff. And so she was like, "Can I play that BioShock game?" And I was like, "Absolutely, yeah, go, awesome." And she kept hitting quick save, and she just kept hitting file, new save, and she saved right over my file. Like I was like right at the end, she just saved right over it. She was like, "Oh, did I do that? Yeah, is that okay? Yeah, I guess it's okay." But I will always remember that. Yeah, you. 25 games for my son. Yeah. It's not what they wanted. Yeah? Oh, okay. You're like, this is a zombie killing game, obviously. That's funny. Anybody else? What about you with the 2 8-year-olds? Do you have any memories that you tied to
Music. We bought the one cassette that we could afford at the music store. We had that album.
Yeah.
That's all we had to listen to for games.
Yeah.
And so there's certain games that I play where whenever I hear the song, it's like,
Yeah. Nice. Cool. I also wanted to do one for my dad, even though my dad and I didn't get along. We still don't get along that well. But like one of my favorite memories of like me and my dad is I was always like short. Like yes. No, I'm not still short now. Like up until like sophomore year in high school, I was like consistently the shortest guy in class. And I really wanted to play pole position, but I couldn't even reach the stupid pedal to like push the pedal and steer. So that's how I remember pole position is like sitting on his lap. He would hit the pedal and I would steer for him. So like that's kind of nice for me. Yeah. But music and games tied together, I'm the same way, man. I'm the same way. What about you, guy who just walked in the back? Oh, really? We're talking about video games and memory. Are there any memories that you tie to a specific video game? First kiss, first date, first heartbreak? Nice. Say two. Yo, really? Nice. And you didn't. Nice. He was doing it for you, I'm sure. Honey, he was saying to his wife, honey, I gotta do it for the kids. That's awesome, though. Yeah, so, like I said, I think that's where I need to go from here. I gotta crank these out faster, but still try to keep up the quality. I think I'm actually gonna change the art style a little bit, too. Do you? I mean, it's just that this, like, stuff like even stuff like that. Thanks. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's just that, I don't know. Yeah? Alright, cool. No, I don't. Thank you. Thanks. But you can go to my YouTube channel and watch all of my things. Yeah, there it is. There's the X-Files one. There's the X-Files one. Like, you know what's funny is I called my brother up. I called my brother up because my brother's like a weird gun nut guy, and I was like, hey, what kind of gun did Mulder carry in that picture? And so like because the picture was super blurry, so I had to find that specific gun to try to draw that gun for Mulder. But X-Files was a great show. X-Files was such a good show. It's yeah. If I do, I'm not gonna share him with anybody. Like I've never shared his name in this. Like, his life is his life. Whatever he wants to do with it, it's up to him. But like I said before, I'm never gonna force him to play anything. So if people wants to pick up a controller and play anything, he can play it as long as it's not, gonna warp him. But what's always kind of funny is I always get a lot of other parents be like, oh, so your kid's gonna be playing a lot of video games. It's like, yeah, my kid's probably gonna play a lot less games than you because I know what games he's playing and exactly what they are. Where you're just gonna throw GTA 5 at your 8-year-old, I'm gonna be like, yeah, you can't have that. I know what that is. Yeah.
Here's the Super Nintendo, which is yourself out.
Yeah, because you know why? Because a lot of kids actually still really like that stuff. That pixel art is pretty much timeless. Like, even if you walk back there, like the kids that are playing that stuff, they love it, It's awesome. So, Yeah, dude. Graphics don't make the game, so yeah, I'll throw old stuff at him all the time. If he wants to play it, I'll play it with him. Oh shoot, there was something I wanted to kind of say that would go into that. Oh well, must not have been true. But you know, honestly, it is really funny. He shows like compared to me when I was his age, he showed like no interest in games. So maybe I lucked out in that regard. Maybe he'll actually grow up and do something. maybe he'll be good at math. Shoot, I actually did just have what I had in mind. Oh, the more cookies now thing that happened. I was playing Chrono Trigger and I was like drawing everything out, and my wife was like, oh, I can't come home tonight. I'm gonna be crazy late. Gonna put him to bed. And it was like right when I was trying to wrap up this actual video, and I was like, I don't know how to put the ending on this video. What do I do for the thing of this video? And he literally stood in the living room and stripped all his clothes off and just stood there going, I want cookies now! I want cookies now! And I'm like, you can't have any cookies. I'm like, who's giving you cookies? So I am now going to be tying that to Chrono Trigger forever. And I need cookies now! And what's funny is he saw that picture, but like when I was done, he was like, that little boy took his clothes off. I'm like, oh, cool, you know what I drew from my stick figure, that the little boy took his clothes off. Alright, great. Oh, I remember what it was. Going back to like, no, I'm never gonna force him to like play anything, and I'll always like introduce him to stuff that I think he might like, but he's probably gonna grow up hating the stuff that I love. You know, I love the stuff that I hate. He's going to be the greatest basketball player of all time. And I'm gonna go to the games and I'll be like, no, goal, way to go, son. You know. My wife and I joke about that because we are both combined the worst basketball players on the planet, like male and female, and so he's clearly going to be the greatest. Whatever he's going to stop. Any other questions? How did I do on time now? Questions? Hey, not bad, 12:40. It's longer than I thought. You guys are the best audience. Yeah. That's awesome. I actually had two guys. That reminds me. I had two guys that wrote me after I started doing the series, and they were like, do you care if I do this too? I was like, go ahead, knock your socks off. And they're like, is it okay if it's just written? I'm like, it's your project, man. Have a great time. Send me a link. I'll read it.
Because I think, everything you said was very valuable, but
Yes. Yeah. And honestly, all this is because of MAGFest. And literally all of this is because of MAGFest. Like, having the musicians hop on board, just the kind of, I don't know, the selfless feeling instead of the selfish kind of feeling. Because before it was just gaming, I'm going to go play games and I'm going to enjoy all the games that people make and I'm going to go complain about them online when they aren't the perfect thing in the world. But like, this selfless feeling is all because of coming to MAGFest. People giving back into it, and I needed to kind of give into it as well. So, there you go. Yay, MAGFest. Yay. Bringing, yeah. What? Say that again? Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. This is MAGFest after all. Any other questions while I chug this? Yeah, you know what's funny is I say that I don't play any instruments. Always wanted to play instruments, and this picture back here of this little dude playing the guitar is actually my brother playing guitar. That's actually like what it looked like outside of our garage. Like the cornfields were right back there, and there was these two big mountains. And he would literally put his amp there and play, and he would play so loud, and it didn't matter, because you know who's gonna hear it? Nobody but the Corn. And I was like, he got a guitar, can I get a set of drums? And they were like, no, that's too loud. I was like, what? He literally had an amp that was the size of him, and I couldn't get a set of drums. But he's very musically inclined, and so like we're like, yeah, whatever you want to play, you can play. And what's funny is he watches a lot of Little Einstein, so now he asks me stuff like, can I watch a Little Einstein with George Bizet? And I'm like, sure. And I turned one on, and I'm like, it's Franz Schubert or Hans Schubert or whatever his name is that okay? And he's like, I guess so. I know, I'm like, you're gonna be better at life than me. Great, I did my job at 3. I can tell you're gonna be okay. Yeah, seriously, like he wants to do piano, he wants to do violin and stuff. So whatever he wants to do musically, we're just gonna be like, yes. Probably mine, wanting to play drums, violin, they're like the same thing. Obviously. Yeah, whatever he's into, he can be into. I think whatever you don't want your kids to be in, whatever you tell them to stop doing because you don't like it, they're gonna do it all the harder. You don't want them to date that person, let them know how much you hate that person, and they will date them all the harder. Yeah, so there you go. That's my panel. Thanks for coming. Did I have a thanks at the end? No. Thanks! I'll put that at the end.
Marcos and Shen are watching this.
They might be.
Say hello.
Hey, Marcos and Shen.
Narcos.
Hey, Narcos and Shen.
He changed his nickname without you hearing.
Yeah, he didn't know. And honestly, thanks for everybody who did actually end up watching this. That was very cool of you. But yeah, there you go. 25 games for my son. Most of the games are written down and known. The order that I'm going to do them in, I don't know.
What are some that you crossed off already?
Ultima Online, because I really, really, really wanted to talk about Ultima Online, but it is impossible to get that same. The game doesn't exist as it existed before. I can pop in Super Mario World and it's the exact same game as existed in 1992. But Ultima Online does not exist anymore. And it's going to be the same thing with like World of Warcraft. When people are like, oh, I loved World of Warcraft. In 10 years, they're not going to be able to get that same World of Warcraft experience that they got when they first got on. Just one of the weird kind of minor archival problems of online gaming.
There's a lot of that, and usually like running fake servers, but you're
Yes.
absolutely right.
Yeah, there's actually a couple of there was a couple of I think they called themselves Second Age UO or something like, because there was like UO Second Age was considered like when it was the best, and there's like private servers of people trying to run that, and I was thinking about hopping back in because even just thinking about that game I get twitchy and like I want to play that again.
But yeah, even look at this thing now, I mean, it's not the same game this week. Peter Dinklage is gone.
Yeah.
All his voice work, and it's an online game.
Yeah.
He has like a different like archiving problem.
Yeah.
Strictly video games.
So it is stuff like that. It's like archival stuff like that I can't kind of reproduce. I really wanted to throw up like a Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, and I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. But Library of Congress actually released like a whole bunch of old games. So you can actually play Where in the World, Where in Time, Where in USA's Carmen Sandiego, and like a whole bunch of old 286 games right from the Library of Congress's website. Yes. And they are perfect too. They are absolutely perfect. So now like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego might go back on there. Yeah.
Are you gonna keep like the M-rated stuff towards the end?
You mean like for when he's older?
Yeah, like if you're gonna put one in.
Oh, no. I'm probably going to do the M-rated stuff even now because he'll probably be the last person to watch this. Literally tens of thousands of people have already watched this. He will be like, all right, Dad's finally dead. I guess I'll watch this shit, He did make it for me. I should probably watch this,
It is in his will.
Right, yeah. You need to watch it. He would, but he will literally probably be the last person to watch this. So yeah, I might just do the M-rated stuff now. But because I'm trying to do this to have other people think about and possibly share experiences with their kids as well, like maybe even pick some games that they might want to play with their kids. I am trying to kind of keep it rated G as possible, as much as possible, PG or less. Unlike this presentation, which went I don't know, PG-13 a couple of times. Yeah, that's PG-13.
No, it's still
Touched on it.
I touched on PG-13. Yeah. Well, I do have an open container, so let's.
It was a shitty apartment.
what container?
It was. That apartment, God.
Bethesda too.
But you know which one? There's another one that I definitely want to throw on here, and I'll tell you guys this one. This is kind of a funny story. I was playing Age of Empires 2 a lot when I lived in Arlington. I was in Ballston, and I had like the worst apartment in all of Ballston, like just horrible. I had roaches not because of how clean I was, but because my neighbors were that unclean. And one night one day I came back from work, and my upstairs neighbor just decided to start BSing with me, and he's telling me about how he was a pediatric ornithologist. And he was lying because obviously there's no such thing as a pediatric ornithologist. That means he's does he deal with birds who are still in eggs or like freshly? He was trying to say that he was a pediatric oncologist because he then said that he was dealing with sick babies all the time. So he was lying. But anyway, that night after I was playing Age of Empires 2, I hear, and then a tumble down the stairs, and then a smash into my door, and like I was just froze because it was so loud, and I was living by myself at the time, and I hear this next. Hello? Are you in there? And like I went to the door, and I'm like looking out the eye hole at him, like I'm not here, don't move. I'm like moving like a ninja. But so he apparently angered one of his friends who punched him and sent him down the stairs, and he was so drunk that he thought that my apartment was his apartment after going down 2 flights of stairs. Age of Empires 2. My pediatric ornithologist upstairs drunken neighbor.
But did you open the door?
No! No, I did not. I was so scared. I was so scared. No, I did not open that door. Obviously he was a weird dude, but yeah. No, I didn't open the door. Age of Empires 2. I also on that game also whenever your farms would die out, it would let out this ding sound, and I had adopted this dog. My life was terrible when I lived in Arlington. But I had adopted this dog who, because of Age of Empires 2, I had learned whenever he had heard that dinging sound, he would bark uncontrollably. So like from then on, he would hear these bells and just bark at everything. So like the intro to The Simpsons, whenever like the school bell would go off, he would go crazy. Christmas was hell. Because like every commercial, every car sales commercial, it's like ding, 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 ding. Come to the Lexus sales event, and like the dog's going nuts. Thanks to Age of Empires 2. Oh yeah, he was. It's so funny the things you do for the things that you love. I ended up getting like a 24-foot extension cord for my headphones, and I would watch TV with headphones on like 24 feet away so my dog wouldn't bark. What? The things you do for the broken things you love, You're with him. I mean, I'm sure there's some crazy things you deal with, like you're like that nobody else would put up with.
4-inch power cords are the least of my problems.
Yeah, 24-foot extension headphones. I was literally across the room with just listening to TV. Yeah. I just snorted into the microphone. Yeah. Cool. Thanks for coming. I had a good time. Yeah, more questions, please.
Just one. For us slackers, they showed it really late.
Yeah.
Website or anything?
Yeah, I run a YouTube channel called Elder Geek.
Totally does.
I do. I run a YouTube channel called Elder Geek. Maybe that was what that picture was. Who knows? Yeah, there we go. I run a YouTube channel called Elder Geek. I've been doing it since about 2009. It's kind of funny when I started it. It was doing so well when it first started. I was like, I'm gonna quit my job within the year. This is gonna be amazing. But then as time has been going by, like Google, like across everybody has been cutting back. And now, even though I have roughly 20 times the size of the following, maybe 40 times the size of the following of what I did when I first started, I still make the exact same amount of money from advertisements from Google. That's how drastically they've cut back over the years. So yeah. Elder Geek. Just if you type in Elder Geek reviews on YouTube, it'll pop up. There is a website, but I kind of slacked off a little bit lately, and I haven't been maintaining the site. But if you want to find the 25 games videos, here I was like clicking like this is the real internet instead of a picture. There is a playlist on here that has all the 25 games videos that I've done, along with interviews with the musicians that helped out with making it. I think one of the artists that did the cover work, this guy, where is he? This guy, he did. He's done a ton of cartoons. I think some of you know Phil Summers. He did Star Wars, the 1980s anime, which was absolutely hilarious. And he did a couple of other ones that blew up pretty big. But he did the cover art for both of the albums that we did for the series too. And both of those you can find on Louder, iTunes, and anywhere else albums are sold. And I think next MAGFest I'm actually going to sell like real CDs, so that'll be neat. I might even like make it rain and throw CDs out into the crowd. But yeah.
Your girlfriend or wife, like, does she do any YouTube thing?
No. My wife has. She is a criminologist. She teaches university classes, and we keep our lives completely separate. Because I think if her students found out exactly who I was, it might cost her a little bit of respect in the classroom, and I don't want that to kind of happen. Especially since she kind of appears in a couple of these stories. But no, we've done our best to actually kind of keep those two things absolutely separate. Yeah, no. She games once in a while, but she doesn't do any YouTubing or anything like that. Yeah. Cool. I want to go to the jam space.
Super cool.
Super cool. How's everybody's MAGFests going? Good.
Excellent.
How come you're here? How come you're not in Josh's?
Well, I got in here and then I was like, if I walk out halfway through, everyone here's gonna
No. Thanks, guys, for listening to this. This was great. This is good practice for me.
I cared more about this than fest that I've had.
Really? This was good practice for me. Thank you, everybody.
One question I had.
Thank you.
Question.